going to make a bold claim, and it's this. In 2025, or maybe it'll be a bit longer, but we're going to see it. I think we're going to kind of end up with two kinds of tabletop role-playing game content. We're going to have the super high-budget stuff, big-time production content, like the big actual plays like Dimension 20 and Critical Role, etc. But even outside streaming, we've got reviews shows like Quinn's Quest and such. And then on the other side of the divide, we're going to have this very cool spectrum of like low, very indie lo-fi content. And this is what I've been super into lately, which is like the scrappier podcasts like Yes Indeed, or indie-supported stuff like Rascal News, or Between Two Cairns, or Man Alone. I've been watching a lot of like Man Alone. That guy's been racking up views like crazy. Actual plays like The Bad Spot, or even the like discontinued advice shows like Discern Realities. I love these kinds of creators. But all that stuff in the middle, the influencers, the meme channels, the people making like actual plays on a DIY budget, hoping for like a viral breakthrough, I think for various reasons, largely to do with the exhaustion of 5e and that crowd and the lack of innovation happening there, and plenty of other reasons, I think that stuff is going to decline. So the big question then that I'm getting to now is, where the hell does that leave me? Hello, I'm Jack Edward. I disappeared for a few months there after making about a dozen videos, which is not much, but many of them did, a couple of them did quite well. So why did I disappear there for a second? Well, I got a little bit disillusioned with some of the content. I started making games and creative projects, and I started running more games. But I've still had all of you on my mind. And I got to the end of the year. I'm about 12 months into my big creator experiment, and I wanted to do a review. I wanted to figure out what I'm going to do with the future of this channel that I've got here, which I really, I've got 35 blog posts in the past year, but I only have about 10 plus YouTube videos, which is not a huge experiment. But I've learned some things, and I want to go over what I've learned, because I started laying out this brainstorm. Ooh, look what in front of me. I've got these cool cards. I'm going to reveal these cards to you. I did a little bit of, I've been doing some soul seeking and some soul searching and an inventory of what I've created and how satisfied or unsatisfied with it, a little values audit, and then I'm going to take you through some of my ideas and where I'm going. And I'm hoping that what you might get out of this is sort of just seeing what an honest audit looks like as I explore the future of this channel. And I hope maybe you find some of that interesting. So let's get started. I just want to if you don't know who I am and what I'm up to, let me tell you the kind of stuff that I care about. I'm going to collapse up some of these cards here. And this is, I just want to take you through how I'm going to show you the process when I said to myself, I'm going to center myself. I'm going to figure out what I want to do with this channel. I'm going to take you through the process I went through. So first, I wanted to organize, I just started jotting out some of the stuff I care about most and my key values. Do I have them in order here? Yes, I do. So number one is one of the things I care a lot about in games is organization and facilitation. What it takes to put together tabletop role-playing game sessions, what it's like to facilitate a game, really the process of bringing people together and creating community around role-playing game spaces. And not in an abstract way, but in a really brass tacks technical way, because I do that kind of stuff in New York City and in Brooklyn, and I do it in multiple capacities, a little bit in the tabletop space. I run a lot of games out of my apartment, and I'm part of various groups that play games in the city, and I run up against the practicalities a lot. And I love talking about it because I have a lot to say, and I think about it a lot. So that's one of my interests. Two is collaborative world building. I'll tell you what, in the past year, I've been playing a ton of stuff. Am I going to drag these games over here? I'm not going to go. I've been playing a lot of games as, instead of grabbing a big giant trad game like D&D or Call of Cthulhu, starting from scratch when I start a new campaign with my group and going, okay, let's forget grabbing a campaign setting. Let's build a world together in a very structured way. And there are many, many, many great games, whether that's games from like Microscope and Kingdom and Follow and In This World and etc. from Ben Robbins, or if that's Jason Lutz's work with like Perilous Wild and The Perilous Void and World Wizard, which is not out yet, or Grasping Nettles, or various like city building games. I love this kind of stuff, and I think it's very powerful and very cool, and I love world building for my campaigns, and the more I've started to do it together with my players, the cooler the dividends have been. So that's another thing that I am really into lately. This is going to seem obvious. New games in the TTRPG world in general. There's something about me that's just like a trend watcher. And I have a pretty good purview of a lot of what's happening in the culture and in the scene. And it's something that I'm good at talking about. And lastly, teaching and table skills. I just like really love, if you look at my content so far, I really like getting down to, I've said brass tacks before, but it's late at night because I'm repeating myself. I really love getting into the nitty gritty of how to develop skills as a GM, how to teach games, and how to get more people involved with games. So these are the guiding lights over here. Well, these are the other things we're keeping in mind in terms of when I look at what kind of content I make. I'm looking over here and I'm going like, what fulfills me and how do I bring it in? So here's some things I've tried so far. Crafting tutorials. I've got 7 different kinds of content types. And I want to talk about, these red cards are stuff that I don't think I want to make anymore. And these other things are things to explore. So crafting tutorials. I've got good and bad pros and cons for each. Some of you have seen probably have seen my paper minis vids. Those are, so the pros, I'm good at it and the content does really well. I like making them. I have done a lot of tablecraft videos for my games, and the content goes very, very viral. Like, I have a lot of videos. I've got some of my videos have done a few hundred views. I've got crafting videos that have done tens of thousands of views. My first 100,000 view video will doubtlessly be my ultimate guide to making paper minis. It's just the way it is. Bad. They're hard to make. They take an absolutely enormous amount of work. I don't enjoy making them that much. They're fine. And I really love to pass on knowledge. I really like it when I get serious about something and I get good at it. And I really love helping others. That means a lot to me. But that's where it ends. And I don't have much more left in me. I've got one video I'm definitely going to make, which is a tutorial about making ultimate dungeon terrain. People have been asking for that over and over again over the past few months in my comment sections, and people are really excited about it, and it's another video that will bring a lot more attention to the channel, and I think I have a great technique for it. I think it could become like the definitive channel on making that stuff on a budget, a video on making that stuff on a budget, but then what? That's all I've got. I don't have more things to craft for you guys. So crafting tutorials are in the red because you're going to see one more of them, and then I don't know what the hell I'm going to do after that. 2, read-throughs and like game unboxing style stuff. So the one I did of this was like my Trophy Dark video. It is the video I made that has the least amount of views. And so the good, they're easy to make. I would clear out all these cards and I would just have a book, and you flip through it, and you go, wow, that's neat. That's neat. And then you just publish that. And I'm good at it. Bad, it feels cheap, it's overdone, and I don't like doing it. Making the Trophy Dark video was painful. It was like, I thought I was going to love doing it because I picked up the book and I had so much to say about it. But something about recording it, it's like if you've ever met somebody on a dating app or something, and you're messaging them and everything seems so cool and you like can't wait to meet them, and then you get to the date and you don't know what it is, but every minute from the first minute is so effing painful and you want to get the hell out of there, but you're in it. You're just like, I'm in it for hours now. This is what we're doing for hours, I guess. Like, that's what it was like making the Trophy Dark video. So, and also, like, tons of people are making this stuff, and I don't think it's that valuable. Like, no shade to the people who make this kind of content. Like, I enjoy it. I watch it. If I'm going to buy an RPG book and there are videos that are read-throughs of them, I watch them. I don't necessarily always find them reliable. A lot of, especially if people haven't played the game. And if I am going to do a bunch of read-throughs and play all of those games, like a guy like Dave Thumivore often does, or used to do more than he does now, I'm just going to get burnt out. I'm going to get burnt out like crazy. So crafting tutorials and read-throughs and unboxings. I've got one more of these and no more of these, and I think that's it. Yeah. Peace out. Goodbye. So, oh, by the way, if you want to actually see what I did, I wasn't actually even going to make a video of this, but when I initially did this exercise, I just did it the same way you're seeing now on these cards like this, and I wrote it all here. These are just recreations for the video, but this is really how I game this out. Let's look at some things I would be interested in. Live streaming. Live streaming, like just like setting up a camera, going live, maybe doing some game stuff, maybe some prep or whatever, answering questions. The good. It would be fun as hell to do. I have done stuff like it in the past in other capacities of my life, and I'm really good at it, and it would be easy and a blast. I really enjoy that kind of just being online and taking questions from whoever comes in and having conversations with the crowd, and I love that stuff. Bad. The cons. To make it easy, I would need a tech upgrade. This is being shot on an iPhone, and this is like some, microphone that I've had for a long time. It's pretty DIY. I'm very good at stretching quality out of video, but if I was going to live stream, I'd need all new stuff. It would be difficult to build an audience, difficult as hell. It would take a long time, and especially since I don't want to show my face for personal reasons. I am a pseudonymous person. My name is Jack. My last name is not actually Edward, and so I think it's actually really hard to be a streamer who doesn't show their face, and I'm not getting one of those bouncy VTuber video avatars. I would rather die. So live streaming is an interesting possibility. World building and collaborative storytelling games. So live streaming can meet all of these in a way, but I don't know how the hell I would build an audience for it. World building and collaborative storytelling games. Cool. This meets various pieces here. The good. There's so much cool undertapped potential. I don't think people are making enough. I think it's going to be a huge thing in 2025 as people moving into this space. There's tons of great games. People do not know about them, and I am very passionate. As you can see, it checks multiple boxes for me. And another pro is there's a lot of crossover content between world building stuff for tabletop role-playing games and the hunger around world building and lore building stuff in fiction generally. That could be good and bad. To get into the cons, there's lots of competition in that space, which I'm not sure is good or not. Maybe rising tide lifts all boats, or maybe it's just like a saturated environment and it's overdone. And two, I find a lot of that content to be kind of isolating and myopic and full of glut. Like, I think it would be very just like lonely making these like world building videos in a way that I can't, but maybe not. I wouldn't know until I try, so maybe I'm gonna have to try it. GM advice videos. This is real simple stuff because I have the pros. I have a lot of opinions. It meets my teaching and my organizing and facilitating. It scratches those itches. But cons, No one cares or gives a shit when I make these videos, the GM advice videos. They do badly. I can kind of get them up a little bit more if I make them about like a really buzzy, cool topic. Like everybody's like making videos about how to use oracles right now because solo GMing is and solo gaming is really hot, so people are looking at oracle stuff. But in general, my advice videos, which I thought were really good, no one is. Look, I didn't like crank up the clickbait dials on them, but I think this content does poorly. So as passionate as I am, it could be a huge waste of time. So, two last things, and one is the one. Which one? Yeah, I want to save this one because it's super special. Solo actual play and instruction. This is cool stuff. There's a niche audience, pros. Niche audience, really cool. You can make content that's immediately useful and valuable, and it also scratches some itches for me because I love the work of prep. I love getting ready for games. I love solo actual play, like actual plays of solo games, basically. People are really interested in it, and it scratches that part of me that is a fiction writer at heart. You know, like I love storytelling, and I love helping other people understand storytelling. And there's something about this like solo play that is so raw and brings out the experimental, adventurous storyteller, unself-conscious storyteller, adventurer, novelist in all of us. And that would be really fun to do. And I've got some ideas for how I would do solo actual play. Bad. Very few people are making that content do well. I don't know how much hunger there is for it. Also, my interests change. That's tough. Instruction dates itself pretty quickly. Not that I give a shit. Like if I make an instruction video about how to play Ironsworn better, like who knows if that'll be useful in a couple of years, although the Bad Spot does it, and that's pretty good. It can be isolating. It doesn't meet my organization goals. If I were to pivot to solo stuff, I'm not sure whether or not I would be very happy or if I would feel like a hermit in a cave. The projects I make in my personal life, so I've gotten much more into creative projects. I've written like a game or two recently. And my projects are not really solo related or adjacent always. And so if I build an audience around that, they might not like this stuff. And also I have competition from much more experienced and competent people. The people who are like really good at solo stuff, Man Alone, Bad Spot, Geek, what is her name? I forget her name. She's awesome. Geek something or other. I'll have to give her a shout in the comments, I guess. That's those people are like much more qualified for solo. I just don't have as much solo experience. And lastly, this is something kind of interesting and something I've been playing with or asking a question with. I don't know where it'll go, but tabletop role-playing game talk news show or podcast, but probably podcast. First of all, it would be fun as hell. But two, there's a void for it. It's a totally unfilled niche. To my eyes, there is no general tabletop role-playing game like talk podcast, like an hour-long, covers the news of the week and like gives some opinion and has some banter and does an interview. There's some that are like this, but not really. Like Between Two Cairns is close to it, but they lean really heavily on reviews as opposed to interviews, like reviews of old modules. And they're really niche. They're OSR focused. It's a great show, but it's just not the whole scene. There's Sly Flourish, but he does kind of news roundup and then opinion talk, but it's a lot of it's focused on D&D 5e, and it's not a talk show. It's just Mike Shea. There's Eldritch Lorecast, which is actually pretty close to here, but they're very in the 5e world, except for where they've got like buddies like Matt Colville, so they'll like cover his project, or they'll cover like adjacent stuff from like former 5e creators, but it's very much in that world. It doesn't have a huge range on the indie scene. And then there's been great podcasts in the past, like Plus One Forward was great for this back in the day, or when in like the PBTA heyday. So I think it's a very rich opportunity, and I would have a blast doing it. I can't believe it doesn't exist. I also like there's a part of me that goes like, you could make money doing it kind of just by like Patreon, one free and one paid a week. Anyway, okay, those are the pros. Cons, I don't have a creative collaborator, which that's a huge barrier. I would want like at least some co-hosts to mess around with, and I would probably want them to be in here in Brooklyn or New York City, and I would want them to have some range and good chemistry with me. And I don't have one of those people just hanging around spare, which is fine by me. Like, I have tons of friends who are into tabletop role-playing games, but none who I think fit this project. Two, it would be actually be a fuckload of work and be kind of inflexible, making like if you did it like as a weekly show, it's a ton of work. And you also, a bad thing is you might like have to make clickbait. Like, I would love to cover like developments and cool stuff and cool design trends and new games coming out and reviews and little newsy developments and talking shop and talking shit. But you like the last thing in the world I'd want people to do is like, why won't you talk about the latest Hasbro meltdown? Like, because I don't care. Like, I do not care. But yeah, you might have to in order to bring in 10,000 plus people on an episode. But maybe not. Maybe I don't care about that. So those are my considerations. I can't believe this doesn't exist yet. And these are the kinds of things I've shown some interest in. Like, okay, but let's wrap this up and get down to what's important here, which is like why I would do any of this, right? Because this all comes down to one thing. All comes down to one thing. Continue YouTube. Abandon YouTube. Keep doing this. Stop giving a shit. Refine this channel. Make some good content. Actually, I've got all these ideas here. Not overthink it. Just like make what makes me happy. Freshen up the look. Keep going. Or like basically not care about it and maybe only make a video when I've got something really desperate to say or something to promote. Continue or abandon. Continue. The pros, cons. Pros of continuing. The feedback I'm getting is great. Like, I made 10 videos, and I've actually like I actually have pretty when I see like people's projection of how well you should be doing after 10 videos, I'm doing much better than people should be doing after 10 videos. The feedback I get is really good. People keep saying I'm helping them a lot. When I make like an instructional something, I get like great comments, nothing but great comments. And that makes me happy. Like I feel called to help people, and people send hundreds of comments saying you're really helping me. That's awesome. It's helping me develop skills of all kinds. Like it's teaching me like a lot of scheduling and work streamlining and some like self-improvement stuff. Basically the reason I'm making this video is because I'm trying to move over to working with DaVinci Resolve, and this is going to be a good exercise for that. So if you like the editing, learning DaVinci Resolve well. And most importantly, hate to say it, guys, YouTube amplifies other projects. One of the things, when I started this YouTube channel, this is the only creative outlet I had. Now I have written a game. I was like alluding to it in Trophy Dark. I was like, I wish there was a game that does XYZ, and I made it. It's called The Roaring Age. It's a hack of liminal horror for running 1920s Lovecraftian investigation games. Like, you can take any Call of Cthulhu module, classic Call of Cthulhu module, and like run it in liminal horror now with my new game, which is awesome. I've got this thing coming out called like, I think I'm going to call it the Scene Master. What am I calling it? Or the Scene Kit. Right now the working title is the Scene Kit, your zero charisma guide to masterful role-playing. I'll say more about it soon, or you can check out, I've laid out the whole thing on my blog. I'll link it below. But the Scene Kit, I personally think that's going to be an astounding project. And if I might say so myself, I'm probably going to submit it for the Ennies in like the game aid category. I don't think I'll win, but I think this would have a chance of getting nominated for an Ennie because I'm proud of it and I think it's really useful and I've tested it and it's cool. I could drag it down from a shelf, but here's the thing: is like continue YouTube. Like I would love to make YouTube videos laying these projects out and showing you guys how to use them and like promote it. Not promoting my games, but literally like teaching my games. I think that would be rad. So that is a great reason to continue making videos. Why abandon? Well, because there's a lot of other stuff I want to pay attention to. I want to pay attention to game design. I want to pay attention to my blogging. The audience from blogging is smaller. You know, I've got 1,000 or 2,000 subscribers here, and I've got a couple hundred blogging audience. But the blogging audience is stickier and more consistent, and they have deep conversations with me, and they keep on. Like I know the people who follow my blogging stuff because they get into it with me. Whereas the YouTube people are like, it feels more like like a passive audience. I've got creative writing I want to do. One lo-fi creator I've been following is named Lydia Foxglove or Foxgrove. Anyway, she's the coolest writer YouTuber who's making like creative writing content. She's spent like 20-something years making fantasy and romance books, like self-published, and has made a living out of it, like a modest and cool life, like making these books and now she's making instructional videos, and they're not like super high res and high production. They're just looks like she like threw up a camera and is like making these cool videos that are inspiring me to be much more creative, and they're just like really valuable, and they're really blowing up, and I'm happy for her. But it has reminded me, now that I've got all this creative potential, that actually I like creative writing. You know, there's like the teenager in me like really wants to make an audio drama. You know, that was one of the things I wanted to do back in the day, or like do some trashy novels. She had this great like video recently that the headline was just like, I forget what it was. I'll pop it up on the screen. It's just like, write the trashy novel that you've got within you. Like, just go for it. And I'm like, fuck yeah, I could do that instead of making YouTube videos. I could focus on professional development. I could focus on IRL organizing of all kinds. YouTubing can feel lonely, and I'm not sure it's valuable, and it turns my life into content. And those are good reasons to abandon. So what the hell am I going to do? What am I going to do? What's going to happen next? Do the blue pill or the red pill? Do I take the blue pill and make... it's kind of reversed. Do I take the blue pill and stay digital? And stay in the digital world, or do I take the red pill? It's actually kind of a tainted analogy, isn't it? It's been kind of politicized in an ugly way. Well, you get what I mean. What am I going to do next? What will happen? The only way to find out is to like and subscribe. I hope anybody found this interesting. I made it as just kind of an exercise. I'm happy I talked about it aloud. My name is Jack Edward. I would love to hear any of your comments, any of your thoughts. My blog, follow me on the blog. I tried Blue Sky, but I'm not sure I care about Blue Sky, but you can try following me there. And thank you so much for sticking with me. Anybody who's gotten any value out of this. If I leave this all behind, you guys still made my day every comment you left, because I read every comment. Which reminds me, I have a lot of comments to catch up on, because I like replying to them all too. All right, good night and good luck, guys.